Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Tactical Tuesday. We are coming full circle today. If you've never been on Tactical Tuesday, this is our agent call for a Grid Investor Network, where we talk about how to build your cash machine specifically on the agent side. What are the tactics? What are the strategies? And what are the frameworks that the top agents and teams around the country are using right now to generate business in today's market. And today I am joined by our first Grid Tactical Tuesday guest, Amanda Dahl, my great friend. Amanda is one of the best operational and sales professionals in the country. So go back, watch her episode. We went really deep on how do you earn the business? How do you ask for the business the first time Amanda came? And today, Amanda, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so we're going to go phase two on this, right? It is a full circle moment because I went back to look at it and it was literally this time last year. So we are now a year from when we talked about that. And man, if you were one of the first people that were on that call and you actually did what I told you to do, you should see massive change in your business. You should be reaping the results of that now. So today we're going to go phase two. So we talked about how should your database in your sphere look? How do you go out and meet those people? And now I want to talk about like how we edit it, how we audit it, and how we keep up with it. Because I think that's the biggest mistake. So I'll jump in if you're ready to go.
Can we
Oh yeah.
give a quick recap? Because Amanda has, I think, one of the best questions ever for do you actually have a sphere or do you have a data bank? Like, have you actually asked for the business in your sphere? So, Amanda, what's that question if I am getting started, or even if I've been doing this, but I haven't really kind of formally went through my whole database and asked for the business from everybody in the database?
Yeah, so let's, great question, by the way. So let's go back to inception, right? Your first day of real estate. Doesn't matter what brokerage you were with. I'm sure somebody told you, hey, now you have to build a database. So go into your phone, take all the names and numbers that you have in there, put them in a spreadsheet, and now we're going to call that your database. And while that is great for a brand new person in real estate, that's not the only piece. So if we start there, you had names and numbers. In my mind, they're not even considered a database opportunity unless you have the core five. And that's their name, their telephone number, their physical address, their email address, and their birthday. If you don't have at least
Oh.
those five, you can't even call them a database ad because the whole point in this process is to put them on a plan where you're effectively touching them. And if all you have is an email address, you're limiting yourself on the way that you can communicate with them. If all you have is a physical address, you're limiting. If all you have is a phone number, so you want all of those pieces so that you can hit them on multiple accords. Oh, we got someone on unmute. There we go. Cool. So that's the first thing. So now those people can be considered your database. Otherwise, they're, in my mind, just an ad. Like they're a potential lead, but we're not really sure. Then the second piece to that is your sphere. So you should be narrowing down the people that are in your database to your sphere of influence. Now, these are people that you either have influence over or you intend to have influence over very quickly. And I added that second part because sometimes you get into a relationship with someone and you're like, oh, this is going to be a really good connection, but I need that run up time to actually have influence over them. I haven't earned the right yet. And so for that reason, we're narrowing down this group. The differentiator between people that are in that we consider database and people that are in our sphere start with what I refer to as the chosen one question. And it's very simple. I'm sure you've heard a version of this at some point in time in your career, but it's, hey, Justin, when you or someone you know has a real estate need, who do you call first?
I don't know that I have anyone.
Yeah, well, Justin, let me ask you, what would it take for me to become that professional for you?
Oh man, that's a great question. I would love to work with you. I'd love to maybe not be your very first client. So if you got a couple under your belt, I trust you.
Yeah.
I'd love to come to you for that.
Well, here's the deal, Justin. I don't just want to ask and you say me, like I truly want to be that professional for you. So I want to understand what you need in that professional. So do you have time this week to sit down and chat about what that looks like for you? Like what you would be looking for in a for life real estate professional?
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you about that, Amanda.
Awesome. So, and then we would go and schedule a time, right? Or if you've got time right now, let's run through that. But I don't just want the yes. I want to know what's important to Justin because I can't be that professional at the highest level if I don't know what he's looking for. So I want to know how he wants to be communicated with. I want to know, like I want to find out about him and how I can love on him at the highest level so that I'm constantly bringing value to him. So again, the differentiator between database and sphere of influence is first, we've asked them the chosen one question. But here's the caveat to that. They have to have said you. They have to have said you. Because if you've got someone in your sphere of influence that's like, hey, listen, my sister-in-law, she's a real estate professional and happy wife, happy life. So she's going to get all my business. It doesn't mean I can't love you. Doesn't mean you're dead to me, but that just lets me know that you're not going to be sending me any business. And so could you get my monthly newsletter? Absolutely. Maybe you have a falling out with your sister-in-law. Maybe you get divorced one day. I don't know. But what I know is I'm not going to spend all of my time, energy, effort, and money on you when you've already opted out of engaging with me. So that's a huge, huge kicker to this. The second piece to the sphere of influence, going deeper, is we don't just have the core five. We know everything we possibly can know about these individuals. We know what their wife's name is or their husband's name is. We know who their kids are and what their ages are. We know how many pets they have. We know what they do for a living. We know where they vacation and what their goals are. Because so many agents come back to me and tell me that they fail in the follow-up process. People have unsubscribed for my newsletter. They stopped answering my phone calls. They don't respond to my text messages. And respectfully, it's because time and time again, your communication is, well, just checking in. How are things going? Like I know so many things about Justin that I could send him a touch point and ask him about his daughter. I could ask him about his hobbies. I could ask him about his travel. I could ask him about his fitness journey because I know all of these things about him. And so for that reason, every time I go to touch Justin, he looks forward to my conversation. He wants to answer my text message. He wants to pick up the phone when I call. So the way that you follow up with these people is you follow up in a way that feels valuable to them, but you can't add value if you don't know anything about them. So it's super important that you find out those additional details. Like, do they have any philanthropic initiatives? I'll tell you, church has brought me very close to a lot of people. So it could be religion or spirituality. It could be education. It could be hobbies, pickleball. It could be anything. But I want you to know those details about these individuals. So if you don't know those details, in my mind, you can't really call them a sphere of influence individual. How are you going to have influence over them?
That makes so much sense on so many levels, right? And this is intuitive. I remember sitting here with my good friend Mike Zenicola, and Mike is at a phase in his career. He was phasing out of leadership. He'd been, in running this team for over 15 years, and just realizing, like, asking him, oh, well, Mike really loves talking about travel. He loves talking about his husband, right? And he loves uh, those are like two of the things that really light him up. We talk about charity somewhat, and I was like, oh. And so when I ask Mike about travel or about art, he just lights up.
Yeah.
Like he did not want to talk about real estate. Now, if
Yeah.
there was somebody else, he's happy to go pour into them. But me and him chatting, I was like, oh, how can I be a good friend to this person? Like
Yeah.
you let them be like their truest self. And it's the same sort of thing with these other people in your lives. Like they want to talk about the things that light them up.
Well, and so I get asked the question often, okay, Amanda, so I've got this group of people that I really do want to make my sphere of influence, but it feels so awkward. Like, how do I bridge the gap from where we're at today to essentially getting to that deepened relationship? And it's very simple. So often in real estate, agents are scared of feeling salesy, and I can appreciate that. But for you to be truly authentic and genuine, like respectfully, you have to be direct. And I go back to this constantly. Let me give you some alarming statistics. 87%. 87% of real estate professionals who get into the business will not renew their license after year two. Why? Because their business has failed. I mean, respectfully, we should be ashamed of that. And I'll tell you, as a leader in our industry, it is part of my career's mission to make sure that I scream this topic to the rooftops because you all are business owners and you've got to treat your business like a business. Also, I'll give you another essentially fact or statistic, and that is that you are a for-profit business. So I hear so often from real estate agents like, I love helping my friends and I love doing real estate and I love showing people houses. And Amanda, it's not just about the money. And that's totally fine. But as a business that is for profit, your number one goal is to generate revenue. So you can still love it. You can still enjoy showing houses. You can still want to do it from the depths of your heart. But if you are not making money, then you might as well go ahead and create a nonprofit. Just do it for free. But you are in business for profit. And so for that reason, you have got to treat your business like a business. And the value in your business, if you did not know this, is in your database. If you were to come to me today and you wanted to get out of real estate and you're like, Amanda, I'm thinking about selling my business, the first question I would ask you is, let me see your database. I want to know what it's valued at. And if you can't tell me what your business is valued at with your database, like how many deals your business is good for generating every single year, respectfully, you do not have an asset to sell. You have a liability. And you're going to be hammering signs in the yard until you're 95 years old. And I don't want that for anyone. So you've got to start treating this like a business. So phase two of this is now that you're clear on who your database is and you know who your sphere of influence is, and this is where agents fall off, is you've got to audit it regularly. Let me ask you this question, Justin. If you were paying for Zillow leads for the last year and
Uh-huh.
you looked up at the end of the year and you didn't close a deal from Zillow, what would you do?
I would cancel that Zillow subscription immediately.
Well, why?
Because I'm not getting any return on my money. I'm just throwing and so whether or not it's me, whether or not it's the leads, like that'd be enough time for me to go, hey, this is not working out. I don't have either the system or the model, or the data is not good enough to get a return on this.
Yeah, and my guess is you probably wouldn't wait a whole year because
No.
you're shelling out that 500 or 1,000 or $1,500 a month. You're probably looking at it monthly and going, haven't closed a deal yet, haven't closed a deal yet. And about month four, you're feeling the pain. About
Oh yeah.
month six, you're probably thinking about canceling it. Why don't we do the same thing to our sphere? We don't audit it. We put these people in our sphere and we go, oh, these are all the people who know, like, and trust us. They said that I was their person. But do we ever go back and audit it to see how many deals we've actually done from that individual? And this is year over year. Why? Because your business starts over every single year. So in my
Mhm.
mind, you can't have someone in your sphere of influence for the 10 years and they've only ever done one deal with you. Like, it's great that they did one deal one year, but every year they should be good for either doing business with you or referring you business. And if they're not, you've got to reevaluate that just like you would a Zillow or a realtor.com or a Trulia lead or whatever. And so when you look at the, oh, go ahead. It looks like you have a question.
Yeah, yeah, I do because I think that's valuable. So from when you're saying this, sometimes I hear sphere of influence, and it's like, well, of course my sister is on, you know what I mean? My sphere of influence. Of course Amanda's in my sphere of influence. She's one of my closest friends. Well, but Amanda's in, Rich. She's in coastal Virginia. She's not here. She's in Tampa. She's not here. So sphere of influence has a very specific meaning in your world.
Yeah, I think so often people think like, oh, well, it's my mom. Of course she's going to use me. Oh, it's my sister. Of course she's going to use me. Yes, they've told me. But the reality is, me loving you and having a relationship with you and me actually auditing how much business you are doing in my organization or how much business you are providing my organization, those things are mutually exclusive. You could be someone that I love that gets my newsletter and gets a birthday card, but respectfully, you're probably not going to get invited to the VIP event that I do where it's $175 a person. Why? Because I'm investing that money time and time again, and you're not returning on that investment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And it goes back to when I started my career, I worked for this woman that was in by referral only coaching, Joe Stumpf, great NLP communicator. He had a whole database built out where Amanda, everybody was tracked by the referral tree. So I could see, and that was really valuable too, because you know what? I was like, actually, you know what? Amanda, she doesn't send me a lot of business, but she connected me with Kaleo, and Kaleo has sent me 10 deals. So Amanda stays in the, I'll never forget, I'm always going to honor that relationship because she was the one that connected. It was kind of interesting of like going back and looking at where the connections were. But it was that I've never heard anyone talk about this concept. Like we did that in
Yeah.
2007, and 15 years later from the stage, they're like, let's talk about the value of your.
Yes. And respectful. Like, I know you and I have a relationship and a friendship, and we do a lot of cool things together. We see each other at a lot of events, but it would not hurt my feelings in the least if I was not in your sphere of influence because I'm
Sure.
not regularly sending you deals. Your sphere of influence isn't defined by how much you love me. It's not defined by how great you think I am as a person. It's defined by very black and white. How many deals is it good for? And so I can still be in your database. I still get a
Mhm.
birthday call. I still get a monthly check in because you know we have a great relationship. But whatever you do for that sphere, if I'm not included in that, rightfully so. Because I'm not sending you 2 or 3 or 4 deals a year, whatever your criteria is for each one of those things.
Sure.
So now, if we're looking at our sphere, we would divide that up into 3 categories: A's, B's, and C's. What they all have in common is you've asked them the chosen one question, and they absolutely have said, "You're my person beyond a shadow of a doubt." You have not only the core five, but as much information as you possibly can for them. What differentiates them is the amount of deals that are closed to you in a year. So, like, we're an organization that's been established for 10 years. So, for us, in A's, 3 pieces of closed business a year, closed business, not 3 referrals. This is actually closed business. B's are 2 minimum. So used us, maybe referred us. And then C's have essentially pledged their undying allegiance to us, but they haven't yet used us. And I consider C a holding pattern. Rob, you and I just get into a relationship. I think you're awesome. We have mutually agreed that we want to build a connection. I'm going to give you about 6 months to refer me someone or to close a deal with me. And then I'm like, he said he would. And listen, you'll go right back into my database. And my database gets my monthly newsletter. And my database gets birthday cards. And my database will get anniversary cards if they're a past client. They'll get, if I know their wedding anniversary, they'll get wedding anniversary cards. But like, they're not getting invited to our exclusive Love Ya Latte event that costs per head. They're not getting invited to our VIP red carpet event because those people actually produce. So it doesn't mean you still won't get touched by me. And listen, at any point in time, Rob, you have an opportunity to earn back into my sphere. You just got to send me deals. That's it. So you will never know. It's not like I call you and say, "Hey, Rob, I've demoted you from my sphere," but I know because I'm auditing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You've got to audit your sphere. And I recommend you do it quarterly. You do a 90-day look back. So if you're 6 months into it and you're like, Justin's an A, and what are A's? They're good for 3 pieces of closed business to me. Well, we're now starting quarter 2 and he hasn't sent me a referral or used me. I'm going to check in with Justin and see kind of what's going on in his life, right? He
Mhm.
should be getting my monthly communication. He should be getting my weekly whatever. But I'm just going to kind of check in with him because I need to watch Justin because last year he was good for 3 deals. This year, I don't know if he can perform the same way. And go ahead.
No, what can you give me an example, like two different examples of like an A that's from like a professional and an A that's maybe like a surprising A. It's not like, a mortgage broker that can hand me 3 deals.
Yeah, so like an A that would be a professional. I'm huge, so I'm a high D on the charts. My I shows a lot, but like I feel like is forced in some instances. I'm naturally a D on the chart. So I like bullet points. I'm direct and to the point. I don't like to waste any time. And so what I find is relationships with consumers take a little bit longer. They want to search you and they want to read your reviews and they want to know 100 things about you before they trust you to do a deal. And I understand that's the nature of the beast, but like I want quicker relationships that are going to compound faster. So for me, I started going after professionals. So I asked myself, like, who are professionals that all of their clients will have a real estate need at some point in time?
Hmm.
And as morbid as it sounds, death, divorce, and disease, right? Attorneys are great. So someone gets divorced, I might get 3 transactions from that one relationship, right?
Sure.
Some transact or some property goes into probate, a probate attorney can refer that to me. So I decided to go after business relationships because for me, that's a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 easy versus direct to consumers like 1 to 1, maybe 1 to 2 if they're good at referring you, right?
Yep.
And so attorneys are great, particularly divorce attorneys, family law attorneys, probate attorneys, estate planning attorneys, CPAs or tax attorneys. They deal with people who typically have money who want to deal in real estate. Financial advisors, they deal with high net wealth individuals who have lots of people who have money who want to deal in real estate. So I started going after professionals. And what I found in that is that that is a much quicker relationship to get to the finish line. Because it's like, "Hey, Justin, I might meet you at a networking event. I might meet you through a friend." And I'm like, "Hey, listen, you seem awesome. I want to know more
Great.
about you. Could we have
Yeah.
lunch or coffee this week? I'd love to know more about your business and what it is you're looking to accomplish. Like, then we get to lunch or coffee, and it's very like I run them through the Ford acronym, right? I want to know about your family. I want to know about your occupation. I want to know what you do for fun, and I want to know what your goals are. And then it's like, hey, listen, I'm going to follow up with you every single week. So let's say in that coffee that I had with you, you told me you were thinking about taking your daughter to Costa Rica and you were looking to hire an executive assistant and you might want to buy a second property in, I don't know, Florida. So
Hmm.
now I know all these details about you. And so I'm going to go back to my CRM. I'm going to plug all those in. And then 2 weeks from now, I'm going to follow up with you. I'm going to be like, hey, Justin, I hope you're having a great week. Listen, you crossed my mind. Do you remember when we were sitting down for coffee? You mentioned that you were looking to plan a vacation with your daughter to Costa Rica. Well, fun
Yeah.
fact, I actually have been twice, and I promise you I will own real estate there one day. Absolutely love it. And I had the best travel agent. She did an 8-day spread for us, and it was perfect. I've attached her information to this email. Feel free, give her a call and let me know if I can help you with any of your travel needs as you embark on this journey to Costa Rica. And Justin's like, "Damn, how did you even remember that? That's cool." Then a month from now, hey Justin, I hope you're doing well. Listen, you crossed my mind because I remember when we were speaking, you told me that you were looking to make a hire in your business, an executive assistant, I believe. And listen,
Hmm.
hiring is what I do for a living. So I've attached a tool to the bottom of this email that I think could be really helpful for you in the interview process. Take a look at it. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you want to jump on a call to review it, I'm happy to do that with you. Hope you have a great week. He's like, damn, how did she even remember that? This is so valuable. So, what happened in that meeting was Justin continued to give me information. And in my mind, I was seeing those as value gaps. And then my follow up to him is showing my validity in each one of those value gaps. So now I'm to a point where every time Justin sees my name, he can't wait to open my email or answer my phone call because I'm only delivering value that's relevant to him and what's going on in his world right now. That's a lot different than, hey, Justin, just checking in on you. Hey, Justin, wanted to see if you had any real estate needs. Do you see the difference?
Yes, every call, right? We should be saving money, making money, or adding something of value,
That's
right?
it.
And when we follow up, what people tell us when they feel seen, when we remember their needs, and Shree's here, but I'm going to say,
Mhm.
like, I met Amanda. Amanda was just teaching at a local level. We both were in the Tampa St. Pete market. And so every time I saw Amanda, she was adding value to my life. And then we very quickly went out separately and like, hey, let's be friends and met each other's family, right? Did all the things. But it very much was just like, oh wow, yeah, this person adds a ton of value. I like being friends with people that add value to my world.
Yeah. Because you guys know how it is. I mean, we're in a world that inundates you with stuff. And if it's not relevant to you, you trash, you unsubscribe, you don't care. But when you open it up and you're like, oh, yeah, that speaks to me. So my goal is to find out what speaks to my people in my sphere. And then I just want to add value in those areas.
I love it.
Cherie, what's your question?
Hi, Amanda. I
Hello.
love this. I love where you're headed with this. My question for you is how many true A's do you have, or do you recommend we maybe start off with if we're like babies
Yeah.
in business? Is it like get your first one, get your first three, get your first 10? I'm kind of curious how you coach around that.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways, right? I always want to know where the individual comes from. So I didn't even tell you guys about me or what I do or why you should even listen to me, but I run a top team here from a sales and growth perspective in Virginia Beach. And so my job is director of sales, so to make sure everyone in our organization is producing and they understand what their goals are and helping them meet them. And then the other thing is recruiting. And so when I sit down with a newer agent, I first want to know about their history. Like, who do you have in your phone? And I've got some awesome success stories. Like, I hired a woman one time, and this was when I was running a team in Tampa. Prior to getting into real estate, she owned a gym. She had 4,000 people that would follow her anywhere and do anything. Mind you, she was also in her late 40s. So she had a group of people that were buying and selling and transacting. So for her, I'm like, girl, your goal is to get to 25 A's as quickly as possible. And in my mind, they're going to give you three pieces of closed business because she had the database to support that. She could build a sphere out of the network she already had. I have a 19-year-old on my team right now. Like she's just out of high school. And so she's also got a phone book of 300 people or whatever it is. But like those people are just trying to figure out their life. So they're not necessarily transacting right now. So for her, I'm like, I just want you to get enough people in that group that have pledged their undying allegiance to you. And even if they can't transact right now, maybe they're referring their parents or their family members, or when they hear of someone, they're referring you. So it could look different depending on what phase you're in. What I would tell you though is I would and you can do this any way that you want. Like just because you're new doesn't mean you can't go out and meet 20 attorneys and build relationships with them and get to A's super quickly. I would ask, how much grit do you have? What kind of network do you have? And how important is it to you? Because if you just spent your time focusing on getting A's, let's say you get 25 and they're all good for 3 to 5 closed pieces of business to you a year, and you work on that for the next 2 years so that by year two it's actually coming to fruition, girl, you're set up with 50 deals for the next however long. And then you just keep adding to that. So in my mind, it's how much of a priority is it to you and how hard are you willing to work for it? So I know that wasn't an exact answer, but I just want to be real with you because it looks different for everybody. So, and I'll tell you, I actually Dan Grebe, who has been a mentor of mine, fantastic individual. He is in Orlando, Florida, the Orlando, Florida area, and so he does a lot with new builds. So his goal was to get all of his A's new builds. And that's all he focuses on is now, and he wanted 75. So he focuses on 75 relationships every single year, and his team does 200 units a year. So like you can build this however you want. It's really up to you.
I love that you mentioned Dan Grebe. I've mentioned Dan Grebe multiple times. Dan Grebe is a gentleman I talked about that helped coach and complete the first Ironman with a gentleman that had Down syndrome. Been on today's show. He's the one when I talk about how we do lasting psychological change. That is a Dan Grebe concept, right? Outside impetus, a cohort to go on the journey, and I've got to go back and take someone on the journey from whence I came, right? Um, I love this. You know what I'm hearing, Amanda? A couple different things. Anybody like Will Gadara? I don't know if Lauren's on here. Unreasonable hospitality. He
Yeah.
talks about the journey to become the number one restaurant in the world, right? And what does he talk about? Hey, just like Savannah Bananas, we were looking for opportunities to add value where no one else thought about adding value at the check drop off. The same thing in our relationships. No one expects me to, hey, thank you so much, Amanda, for giving me this travel recommendation. These are
Yeah.
just these things. And when I go above and beyond in my relationships, in my interpersonal relationships, right? Yeah, it is a competition. Rob, what happened, and I just want to share this because I resonate with this. This is my entire business. If you're on this call, this is working. Rob came to me and he said, my job is just to make friends. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I think I might be able to do that better than anyone that I know.
Yeah.
And I just set out to do that. And it is like a competition of like, how much value can I add to my friends?
Now,
How much can I spoil other people? Go ahead.
here's what I'll say about that, Justin, and I'm always extremely transparent.
Yes.
The second part of what I do is I coach agents across the country. So I keep a roster of about 35 people, and I get to see into their businesses every single week. And so some of them are new, some of them are broker owners, some of them own teams, like they're at all different levels. And I always say, like, I'm not the coaching style for everyone, but truthfully, I don't take light of the platforms that I'm given, and I want to be extremely transparent with you. I think so often our industry allows for people to step on a platform after doing something for not very much time, and they preach it as the gospel. Someone changes their business in that direction, and now they're failing. So I take this very seriously. But what I want you to hear is Justin and Rob have earned that right. Because if you're just starting out today, you can't wake up and go, my job is just to make friends every day. Like you got to eat. You got to eat
Yes.
respectfully. So while I love that you're out making friends and making time for that, you also got to be setting appointments. So
Yes.
you also need to get a lead generation source that is low hanging fruit that'll get you in touch with people who want to transact right now. Those things have to run simultaneously. And I hear people like, again, it's funny. My little 19-year-old, she came to me the other day and she's like, Amanda, I'm following this influencer on TikTok, and she was talking about building your schedule around low energy and medium energy and high energy. And I was like, girl, you haven't earned the right to have energy at this point. I love you, but like we haven't earned the right yet. Every day is going to be high energy for you because we got to get some stuff in the pipeline. So I say the same thing. Rob's at a point now where he's got enough leverage in his life and he has built enough of a business that he can go out and his number one job is to make friends because there's an engine running behind him. Justin,
Yep.
same concept. So if you're brand new, I love that you're working on that, but don't lose sight of the fact that you still got to do right now business and you got to go find that.
And you have to ask for business.
Yeah.
I love that. And the other thing I found, and maybe it makes sense for you, Amanda, as I have grown a real business, when people ask me about the market, I talk to them. I say, hey, we grew our business 70% last year.
Yeah.
I've got 4 months of reserves in the bank. We've got like a real model that works consistently. Like, yeah, life is great. The more I talk about being a business owner and openly talking about the things that I'm doing, the more I attract other business owners. Like when I started treating my business like a business,
Yeah.
and when I start talking about that, people are interested in having that conversation,
Yeah. And,
right?
I've changed a couple of my questions. And let me just say, I'm a scripting master. When I tell you after 13 years, I still script practice and role play every single day. I do it with my agents on my team. I like so many things. And I don't take listings today. So I will still go through the expired script at least once a month because I know the expired script has prepared me for any conversation that I could ever have as it pertains to real estate. So I don't stop. I don't stop working that muscle. Just like when you go to the gym. Like you don't
Yep.
build muscle and then stop lifting. Like you continue to lift so that you keep that muscle going. Same thing. I say all that though because two things I want you to take from this call if you take nothing else. And I want you to do them like you wake up in the morning and you don't even have to think about brushing your teeth. I want you to have conversations and not even have to think about this. I want it to just roll off your tongue. Every single time you end a conversation, I want you to end it with, and hey, Justin, before I let you go, who else do you know that I should know? It is so easy to continue to add to your day because that's the second piece to this. Once you get your database where it needs to be and your sphere respectfully where it needs to be, then you can't lose sight of the fact that you got to keep adding to it because eventually you're squeezing only like there's only so much water you get out of a rock. And so if you're only going to keep it at these people and never add new people, eventually you're going to be capped at how many deals it does. So you also have to have a plan for who are you adding to it. In our world, our agents have a KPA to meet of 5 new database ads a week. 5 new database ads that you get complete and updated contact information for. You have the chosen one question with, and then you categorize them. And then your goal is to continue to build on those people. So don't lose sight of the adding plan. The way you get more ads, though, is to ask the people who already know, like, and trust you who else you should know. Because this is what happens, right? So when Justin tells me I've got to know Cherie, and then I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, Cherie, it's Amanda over at Cova Collective Realty. Listen, I'm reaching out because Justin Myers said I've got to know you. You're like, what? What's Justin doing? Why is he talking about me? Girl, he said you're amazing. And as a matter of fact, I've got a couple of events coming up that I think you'd be perfect for if you'd like to join me. And she's like, yeah, girl. Why did that happen? Because I dropped Justin's name. And so I've already got one foot in the door. So you have got to get good at that, at asking that question. Who do you know that I should know? And then the second question you've got to get amazingly good at asking is Justin, before I let you go, I'm curious, who else do you know that might have questions about the market? I'm here as a resource, and I want you to think of me that way. Because and the reason I brought up scripts earlier is because scripts are written intentionally, which I appreciate. But what I realized is when I was specifically asking the question, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? It's a very specific question. And if someone knew someone, they'd give it to me. But more times than not, they're like, I don't really know anyone, Amanda. I'll keep you in mind. When I changed the question to who do you know that might have some questions about the market, because I'm here as a resource, then I started getting more engagement. Well, as a matter of fact, Amanda, I've got a couple of questions. Do you have a minute? Absolutely. So it just changed the engagement that I was getting on the back end. So who do you know that I should know? And who do you know that might have questions about the market?
No, I'm going to go through my database this year and ask everyone, who are they asking questions about real estate investing? Because here's the other thing, I promise you, if you're listening to this, everyone around you is a client. Your mortgage broker, your title person, your insurance agent, they all need to buy assets. You got to make the ask. You would be surprised at the referrals I have received, and no one's checking my production or my stats. It's based off of a relationship coming from contribution, right? Adding and leading these people. I love this. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, let's open it
We
up.
can keep going. We can go.
No, no silly questions. So I did enough talking. I want to know what's going through your mind. I want to know what limiting beliefs you have around this. I want to know who's doing it right now and wants to talk through some scenarios. Like this is about you guys.
You raising your hand, Beth?
Hi,
Yes.
Beth.
Hi. So I was gonna ask, like, obviously, when you first meet somebody, you're not saying like, "Hey, what's your birthday? What's your birthday? What's your anniversary?" Like, whatever. How is your best way that you like get that information? Is it just as you like follow them on social media and like through conversations? Like, I guess I'm trying to ask, how long does it take you to get all that? And how is
So
the best way to do that?
on the contrary, I do.
You
It's
do?
immediate, but it's the way, right? So you have to get really good at articulating what it is that you do and what your intentions are.
Sure.
Because and I understand that's not everyone's personality. I started this off with I'm a high D. So like I'll hit you like a Mack truck. I do it in the most professional way, but like I'm not scared to ask. And so if I just met you, Beth, I would say, and you know what, Beth? I actually run a top team, a real estate team here in the area, and we identify ourselves as a community-based real estate team. Now, people hear that and they're always like, what does that actually mean, Amanda? Here's what it means. It means that our number one mission is to impact our community by bringing people together and connecting them, but also by creating spaces where we can love on them at the highest level. And so we actually do a giveaway or an event every single month just to give back to the people who are in our community that we love. One of the ways that we do that is we also love to send birthday cards. So is it all right if I get your birthday? And you know what? We actually communicate all of that stuff in a monthly newsletter. So can I add you to that newsletter so you're never missing an event or a giveaway? Now, if you're someone who's like, well, Amanda, I don't run a top team, I don't do an event or giveaway every single day, I would challenge you to have something. Your giveaway could be a free home valuation report. Your giveaway could be $100 Amazon gift card that you do a call to action for to register. Your giveaway could be maybe a lender sponsors something for you. Maybe a title company sponsors something for you. Maybe your home warranty person. Hell, I like my chiropractor. I'm like, yo, you're a business owner. Could you use more clients? Because I got a database of 12,000. Would you like to sponsor our next giveaway? Would you give away a free adjustment? Cool. That's what we're giving away this month. Our cleaner. We hire you to clean every one of our listings. Would you give away a $500 cleaning? Like a lot of this stuff we don't pay for. But what I want you to understand is it can also be like a free home valuation. Like you should be doing that anyway. I'd be calling everyone that's in my database who owns a home and asking them if they want to know what their home is worth. Because I truly believe that everybody who owns real estate should know what their equity position is. Who would say no to that? So, on the contrary, Beth, I would ask. I would get as much information as I possibly can, but I lead with why. Because people, if you just start off like, and I'm sure most people do, you just start off with like, hey, what's your email? What's your birthday? And people are like, why do you want to know my birthday? So instead, I preface it with why so that you fully understand. And that way you're bought in before I ever even ask you.
So your purpose in telling them is to add them to the giveaways for the
My,
community giveaways.
I want them to be on my mailer list. I want them to be on
Right.
my monthly newsletter list so I can capture their information and drip on them, but also, yes, so that I can
But
add
that's what you
value.
tell them. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's next? Who's got some questions? I've got me and Amanda can certainly keep talking. And who's on here? We all have a database.
I have a question. So the the chosen one question, can you repeat the way that you asked at the beginning?
Yeah, is it Paula?
Yes.
Hey Paula, I listen, I never like to assume. And oh, by the way, let me preface this by saying some people feel really weird about going back because in my mind, I believe that you cannot call them a sphere of influence individual unless you have asked them the chosen one question. And Paula, I'm going to mute you if that's okay because I'm getting a lot of background noise. Thank you. So I like my mom, she can't be an SOI unless I asked her the chosen one question. My sister, same way. But sometimes you feel weird. You're like, Amanda, I've known this person for 20 years. Like, you want me to go back and ask them who their trusted professional is? Yes, I do. And so the way that I preface it is, Paula, I never like to assume. And so for that reason, I have a question for you. When you or someone you know has a real estate need, like who comes to mind first to call? Who do you call first? And really, they're only going to give you one of four answers. They're either going to say, well, I already have someone. And depending on where you're at geographically or not, like when in Tampa Bay, there were 5 surrounding cities. In Virginia Beach, we've got 7 cities here. So someone who sells in Norfolk might not want to go to Portsmouth or might not want to go to, And so for me, when they say they have someone, I'm like, oh, okay. And what areas do they cover? Well, they only cover Norfolk and fantastic. So when you have a need in all of the other cities, who do you call first? Well, I don't have anyone, Amanda. Awesome. How do I become that person? Or sometimes it's I've got someone and they handle all my needs. And I'm like, I can absolutely appreciate that. And I'm curious, what's your plan B? So, like in the event that Justin gets sick or goes on vacation and you have a need, like, do you have a plan B? I truly believe everyone should have a plan B. Well, no, Amanda, I don't. Cool. Can I be that plan B? So that's if they already have someone. Second one is, you know what, Amanda? I don't have anyone. Oh my gosh, like Justin said, right? I don't really have anyone. Awesome. Well, what I want to know is how can I become that professional for you? I'd love to sit down and have coffee if you've got some time this week to find out what's most important to you about your real estate professional. And I'd love to interview for the position. Number 3 is, well, gosh, Amanda, now that you've asked me, you're my person. And I'll show them immense gratitude. Thank you so much. And I'm curious, now that we're talking about it, do you know anyone that has questions about the market right now that maybe I can help support or be a resource to? And then the fourth response that they're going to give you is, you know what, Amanda? I just don't refer people. I don't like to put my name on it, not really interested. I can appreciate that, Justin. Then I'm curious when you yourself has a need, who do you call first? Because some people just truly don't like to refer. I've given out some bad referrals before. And so those are the only 4 answers you're going to get. And so if I didn't share this with you already, Justin, I'm happy to share the script with you because I've got objection handlers for each one of these. So I'm happy to share the script with you so that they have it. But like, that's all you're going to get. So if it's someone you've known for years and you feel weird, start off with, I never like to assume. If it's someone brand new, just flat out ask them.
Great question, Paola. Paola is here in Knoxville on my team.
I love it.
Oh yeah, and she is will run through a wall right now. She is not afraid to talk to anyone. I love it. All right. Um, Anyone else have some questions? Maybe I have a question for you. So let's walk through. Okay, so I built this database. I've got it categorized. I think there's 2 things that jump out at me. One, how do I get over my limiting beliefs around adding value to strangers?
Mm.
It's the one thing I see pop up the most. I see it on my team where it's just the same sort of like, and the more they're around the team sometimes, well, I'm not you or I'm not Corey or I'm not Amanda Dahl. So like I'd say one, like what do I do with that? And then 2, I'd love to know about kind of the auditing, like what that call looks like when I'm going through and I'm auditing my database and people are kind of dropping in and out.
Yeah.
How
So
do I start that habit? Yeah.
So question number 1, I would say some of those limiting beliefs are valid because you don't have enough information to add value. Like that's the truth. So now you've got a choice to make. Am I going to call them and let them know my intentions and that I want to know this information about them? And you can lead with whatever you want. Like I've learned that as long as I'm truthful with people and they understand my authenticity and how genuine I am, they're typically like bought into whatever it is I want to do. So if I was going to make this call and all I had was an address, let's say I had the core 5, right? And so I want to get more, like I would reach out to Beth. Hey, Beth, it's been a while since I spoke to you. I hope you're having a great week. Hey, listen, do you have a few moments?
Yeah,
Awesome.
sure.
The reason I'm reaching out is because it is absolutely positively my intention to know everybody in my database and how I can be of service to them at the highest level. And so for that reason, I've just got a few additional things I'd like to know about you. So if now's not a good time, I'd love to schedule some time to chat with you, maybe over coffee or something. Or if now's a good time, I've just got a few questions for you. So I'm curious, we're now in the spring market of 2026. Do you have any like goals that you're really looking to achieve by the end of the year?
Yeah, I've got some fitness goals. I want to lose 15 pounds.
I love it. Okay. All right. So have you
Um,
started the process for this yet?
I have haphazardly started the process. I have committed to walking 10,000 steps a day, apparently twice a week.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so same for me. I've got a 15,000 step per day goal. And so I actually bought a trackpad for my office. And so now I literally I do. So on my coaching call days, I just walk. I'll burn 5 to 600 calories just walking on my coaching call. Yeah, you got it.
I've got
Um,
one here under the desk. Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm curious, as it pertains to your business, like how's that going? You got anything exciting happening in your business?
Oh yeah, sure. Want to recruit more, and I have GridCon coming up here June 1st, June 2nd. They have asked me to MC that event, so preparing for that. Excited about it.
I love it. Well, hey, listen, if you'll send me the details, I would listen. I have a huge network, so I'd love to share that out on my social channels and see if I can't get more traction for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
send that over
absolutely.
today.
And so, how's the family? How's your daughter?
Hayden's graduating next month, and she just had her last play on Sunday that she stage managed. So she's getting ready to go be a Gator. She's really excited.
Oh my gosh. Well, this Alabama fan, my heart hurts a little bit, but that's okay. I'm excited for it. That's how you do it, right? Like, all I want to do is be genuine. And if I can feel he's rushing me off the phone or he doesn't want to have the conversation, like I will call it a, hey, Justin, like I just want to pause for a second because it sounds like you might be in a time crunch. So we can schedule this conversation later if you'd like. And like I'm all about doing it in a very professional way. Like nothing irks me more than when someone picks up the phone and then I get into question two and they're like, you know what, Amanda, I'm actually popping into a meeting. And I'm like, well, why the hell did you answer the phone then? So instead, I'll be like, I can appreciate that. Everyone's busy. And so, how about I reach out with a couple of dates and times to have a conversation and we can go from there? Like, I'm respectful, I'm charismatic, I'm intentional about my questions. So that's how you do it. Is everyone going to be as forthcoming as Justin? No, and that's okay. But what I'm also learning in this process is who my people are. Like I told you, they can earn the right into my sphere of influence if they want to engage with me. But if they don't see the value of engaging with me yet, that like I can't I can't spend any time or waste any time on that. I just can't. So I'm just
Hmm.
going to move on to the next person. And so, and it's interesting when you do this process, like we have an agent on our team, John. So he had like what he would consider his A's or VIPs. He had 140 people. I was like, I challenged that, buddy. And he went back through and 140 people turned into 42 people. But every day he was waking up saying, I've got 140 people in my A's. So naturally, I should easily be able to do 25 deals. But then it wasn't working. So when we had him go back and audit, he's like, when I really got real with myself, like, I love John, but he's not ever really sent me business or used me. So it doesn't mean I can't love him, but he's definitely not a VIP or an A, right? So you got to get really clear on that process, which leads into your second question, which is how do we do the audit? First and foremost, I would do it quarterly. So you're doing a 90-day look back and just like a business tactic, you should evaluate everything at minimum quarterly. How did we perform in the first quarter? How did we perform in the second quarter? That's with your numbers, that's with revenue, that's with net profitability, that's with lead sources, that's with everything. Evaluate in quarters because it allows you to pivot quickly.
So again, 7 levels of freedom. Level 3 is business ownership. What are the two markers that you're a business owner? You know your KPIs, my key performance indicators. Those are the numbers Amanda's talking about. How many contacts? How many appointments? What are my conversions? What's my fallout? What are my lead sources? And then do I have a P&L that I'm closing out every single month? That's my results. That's my lagging indicator of like, is this showing up as profit in my business? And I promise you, I don't want to overemphasize this. I was a roofer and I did some side jobs, and I thought my boss was so greedy because he took 30% overhead and profit. And I was like, you don't need to make 30%. And then someone called me the next year on a side job, and I had to stroke a check to fix a roof. And I watched him stroking all these checks with a smile because he made money and he
Yeah.
backed his work. And I go, oh, yeah, like you have to make a profit to stay in business to back yourself. So if you want to be there for your people and you think you actually are giving them service, if I don't make a profit, I will not be around to help their friends or to help them for the next transaction. Like I have to be profitable to actually be a servant. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go
And
on.
to Justin's point earlier, tracking is so important. So when you're doing this auditing process, you're actually not calling them to audit them. You should already know. Like if Justin is an A or a VIP in my world, I should be able to look back and see how many deals Justin has sent me that closed in the last quarter. If the answer is zero, he goes with a little asterisk next to his name because he's got one more quarter and then he'll be off track. So now I'm evaluating from a backend, but I don't pick up the phone and call them and tell them, hey, you haven't sent me a deal in a while. I'm just monitoring it on the back end. And then should we get to the end of second quarter and Justin still hasn't referred me anyone or used me, then I'm demoting him to a B Because I'm like, well, he's still got half a year to send me 2 deals. If we get to the end of the year and he sent me nothing, he's demoted to a C. That's how you do the audit process. But what it does, it's just like when you look at your numbers every single week for lead generation. If you know this week you were supposed to set 2 appointments and you didn't set 2 appointments this week, then what happens next week? You're like, crap, I got to go set 2 more appointments because that carries over. So now you're very clear on what you need to do on a regular basis. So every quarter I'm seeing who I'm demoting or promoting, but that also gives me an indication of who I need to replace. Like I just demoted 3 A's. Now I got to go find 3 A's or I got to find B's that I can graduate up to A's. Like this is a process that you got to treat just like any other lead generation source. So I'd say the auditing process starts with number one, you got to be tracking. And then number two, it's auditing it every 90 days.
There's only
And
3 ways to
again,
get.
you're not going to lose anything here. Like
Yep.
if you demote him to a B and you demote him to a C, or from a C, you demote him right out of your sphere, Justin could surprise the hell out of me and call me in August with one person that needs to do 3 deals. Guess what? Justin just earned his way back into my sphere and as an A. He did it before the end of the year. Like I don't care how it happens, but I'm only tracking the process.
Have you ever had anyone ask you a question of like, hey, I enjoyed that event so much. I noticed you didn't invite me back this year. Okay, I wouldn't think so.
Literally, no.
So my question is, what is the exact difference of what you do differently with the A's versus the B's other than I know you don't invite them to the VIP event. Is it just the amount of time you invest in them?
So my A's, so a couple of things. So A's are definitely getting on top of what everybody else gets at a stand. Like they're getting, like we did our Love You a Latte event. We did it at our new office here. We only had room for like 75 people. So that was only A's slash VIPs that we invited to that. Like nobody else got the invite for it, but we did post about it. So, and before I finish answering your question, Justin, if I ever did get that question, I would be like, oh my gosh, we do events and giveaways constantly. I'd love to have a conversation about how you can earn your right into going to these events because we do like we're built on referrals, we are built on word of mouth, and so for that reason we have some programs that you can opt into that absolutely you can get access to that. If they want to know more about it, I'm happy to have a conversation with them. Now I'm very particular about how I pose that. They don't have to pay anything to be in it. Like you got to make sure you follow all the laws. um but then to your point, I'm sorry, ask me the question one more time. Oh, Yvette, so what do they get?
Different of A's versus B's, like
So
how you treat them when you demote them or whatever.
yeah, so like B's will get invited to any event that we do. A's are only exclusive events. So that's the difference right there. Now, the only time that changes, and I'll be honest with you, is like we do some events that are super exclusive and then we do some events that aren't. And here's what that could look like. So like our Easter Bash, we rent a pavilion at a park that cost us $75 and we cater the barbecue. That cost is the cost is the cost. So whether 2 people show up or 200 people show up, we're paying $75 for the pavilion and the Easter bunny. Like it doesn't. So we'll door knock a neighborhood around that to get more database ads because it's not any more to our pocket. However, the Love Ya Latte event where it's $75 a head, like that's only for VIPs. Same thing with our Fall Fest. We rent out a farm that's got the corn maze and the pumpkin patch and all, we pay $1,700 for that, whether 2 people show up or 2,000 people show up. So that's another one. Well, we'll invite everyone. So to your point, Justin, our people aren't like, we never get invited to events because they do get invited to some. When the cost is a cost is a cost, we don't care. But when it's per head, it's very exclusively for our A's or our VIPs. And then the second piece to that, Beth, is how many times we're actually reaching out and making a phone call to them. So in my mind, your A's or VIPs, they should be seeing you or communicating with you every month. So like if you saw me at an event in January, I should be on the phone with you in February. Then you saw me at an event in March, I should be on the phone with you in April. So every single they are hearing from me. Where your B's, it's probably maybe couple, yeah, even couple times every other month or even quarterly. I'm okay with that. So those are the biggest differences.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So, Amanda, before we let you go, I've got 2 questions for you. One, how can we add value to you? How do we connect with you? Where are you? How can we thank you for pouring into us?
There's so many ways, which I appreciate the question. And I want to be an example for you all. When somebody asks that question, you tell them. so that they know how to help you. Here's what I've learned is people actually want to help you. Most of the time they just don't know how because you haven't communicated it. So two ways. Number one is my career's passion is to coach people. So if you know anyone looking to level up their business who wants to grow and scale, I would love to have a conversation with them. Doesn't mean I'm going to be the right coach for them, but I definitely want the opportunity to talk to them. I love coaching. Number two is I run a real estate team here in Virginia Beach. So if you know anyone coming to this area, you have any referrals at all, we want to earn that business from you. And we have some really cool stuff we do for our agents. We do weekly agent tips that we share with you on how we're growing our business. We do a connect page where you now have a community of people that you can connect with. Like we do some really cool stuff around that. So if you've got any referrals for my area, I would absolutely love them. And if you know anyone looking for coaching, I would love to earn a conversation with them.
Awesome. And so you're all gonna get that. If you like a lot of the things we do, we steal shamelessly from both of Amanda's employers, Glover U and Nova. Yeah, that's so we
I
try and
do too,
plug
by the way.
everything. Yeah. And then the last one would just be, Amanda, who do you know that I should know that would be a great guest on Tactical Tuesday?
Ooh. Any topic?
Any topic.
Yeah, you know who you need to talk to? You need to talk to our top producer, Taylor. Taylor
Okay.
Bagnick. Taylor will
I like
sell
that.
100 units this year as an agent on our team.
Excellent.
So she'd be a great person to talk to about how she does it.
Thank you. I just want you all to know every conversation that Amanda and I had today, like this is not an accident. I know, like I just caught up with her. She's gonna go promote GradCon for me. I'm gonna put Taylor on here. Like y'all, you can do this in your life all the time. It doesn't have, it's just something that becomes like people want to help you. Rob told me this. I have to let them know. Like, you enjoy this? Hey, I love your Knoxville referrals. Right? I love serving people. I make the majority of my income selling real estate to my sphere of influence, normal people that are looking to relocate and do business here. So if you know anybody here, not just investments, I would love to serve them.
Yeah.
You gotta let people know. So,
I'll
um,
say this last thing, Justin, and you know this better than probably anyone. If you are willing to do the work that I just told you to do, you absolutely have earned a right on my calendar if you ever want to have a conversation about it. So you take this a step further and then you're stuck. I am all about pouring into the people that actually take the stuff that I teach them and go back and do something in their business. So if you need any, but don't ask for a call for me and you haven't done at least the three things that I talked about. That you won't earn a spot. But I'm so happy to talk to anyone who's willing to do the work.
Thank you. And I want to leave you because Amanda buttoned it up right here. If you're watching this, if you've ever been to one of these, the whole reason we started Tactical Tuesday was I had the firm belief that if you got to sit in the rooms that I got to sit in, next to the people that I got to sit next to it, again, I used to sit next to Amanda and copy off of her notes because when we're sitting in these conferences, right? Like I'm intentional about who I build these relationships with. You have these relationships too.
Yeah.
So if you go back and you watch any of these past episodes and you're like, man, I have some questions. I can connect you with that speaker. And people love actually talking to people that are actually taking their advice because God knows how much time do we spend repeating ourselves.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Amanda, thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
you. Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. All right, guys. Have a good day.